what made you come to the UK and what made you leave after almost 4 years?
So actually, one thing that I always talk about a lot, especially in my channel or with people, is that when you are moving abroad, one thing that will help you is to have like a plan, because that helps you to go to any country at all and then not to be distracted. So I actually had a plan.
Stop that. You know that you are living my dream right now. Why am I saying that? Yes, you are. I always say that if I would move to the US, one of the states that is top on my list is Texas. In fact, I have the Texas Board of Nursing forms printed out that I have even started. I printed it out maybe about 6 months ago, but I don't know which witches in my village are worrying me. Anytime I start the process, I've stopped. This is like the 100th time that I've started and I've stopped. But the reason why I was considering Texas is because one, Texas is the energy capital of the world. So if you are into energy like petroleum, oil, all of that, you have high chance of getting a job. And that's what my husband is into, right? So I feel like if I go there, he would get a job easily because he did petrochemical engineering in school. And another reason is because they don't pay taxes, state taxes. And then another reason is because in fact, this afternoon I was watching houses in Texas. I was watching Austin, I was watching Dallas, I was watching real estate, how much houses cost in Texas and all of that, and comparing it to UK houses. And then the Texas houses are always much more affordable. They are much bigger, more spacious, yet more affordable. I'm like, if I go to the US, I'm really considering Texas. And if I go there, I would like to buy a house there one day when I get there. And you are a UK nurse, you've currently moved to Texas. And from listening to your videos, I believe you bought a house there as well. So it's like you are living my dream, man, because you're really, really living my dream. So that's how I'm like, let me invite Linda on my channel today and then ask her a few things. Linda, for those who don't know you, people may have seen your face because you're a YouTuber as well and you're a nurse. You were initially in the UK and then you used to talk about migration as well. What more don't people know about you? Just briefly introduce yourself and then.
So again, I will just say my name again. My name is Linda Eze. I have been a nurse for 11 years now, and I'm a Nigerian, and 5 years I spent in Nigeria as a nurse. So I worked 5 years in Nigeria as a nurse, and then almost 4 years in the UK, and right here in the US 2 years. So that's basically me, and yeah.
Your mother, right? And the wife.
Yes, so I have 2 kids. I'm married, and we live in Texas right now.
Wow. So what made you come to the UK and what made you leave after almost 4 years?
So actually, one thing that I always talk about a lot, especially in my channel or with people, is that when you are moving abroad, one thing that will help you is to have like a plan, because that helps you to go to any country at all and then not to be distracted. So I actually had a plan. While I was in Nigeria, I wanted to move to the US, and there was so many of the agencies, they would say, oh, you have experience, but you're not working in how many bedded hospital and all of that. And in Nigeria, then it's very hard for you to even get a job in teaching hospitals. So for Nigeria, if you want to work in that number of beds or whatever, it has to be a teaching hospital. So I wasn't working in a teaching hospital. I was working in a private hospital. So I just thought to myself that the best thing I can do is actually to just move to the UK. So if I move to the UK, definitely I'm going to meet the criteria. And I also really wanted to study. So I applied for some schools. First of all, I got admission, but the school fees were like very expensive. I couldn't get any.
In the UK or in the US?
In the UK.
Okay.
And in the US, I wasn't getting admission at all. So I got admission in the UK. And then I also joined one group like that for nurses that want to move to the UK. And I found out that the process was like a lot easier. So I had to write my IELTS, and then I found myself in the UK. But back in my mind, just back to the plan that I talked about. So my plan was that when I get to the UK, I will write the NCLEX and then I will move on to the US, because that's my ultimate goal. So that made me to actually choose where to go to in the UK. So in the UK, I lived in London. And the reason for London is basically because I know the NCLEX Center is there. And so that's the reason why I chose London. And then I moved to London. So 6 months after I moved to the UK, I started the process for the United States. So that's basically why I moved to the UK.
God punish you, Linda. God punish you. You just use KNFC. You use them and dump them. Wow. So you started the process like about 6 months after you got to the UK. And then how long did it take you to get to Texas?
So when I started the process, they did tell us that for people that are moving from the UK to the United States, usually approximately a year to 2 years. But when I passed the NCLEX, the United States had this law that they don't want Nigerians anymore. So my process actually delayed. So they stopped anything about our migration to the US. And also, so from that 6 months to, it took me like approximately maybe 2 years plus or close to 3 years. Yeah.
And you were working full time as a nurse in the UK. You had
Yeah.
2 kids, you had a husband, you had your YouTube channel. How did you find time to study and prepare for the English?
While I was in the UK, especially in the first 6 months, I just wanted to tick off my charts whether this is the place I want to stay. So I noticed I couldn't, once I got to the UK, because I also said my plan was to study, right? So while I was in the UK, I tried to get admission in London School of Tropical Medicine. I did get, and then the school fees was there. I tried to tell them I work full time, I will not be able to like pay this or even attend the classes or something like that. And it wasn't very flexible. And I thought that the school fees is something I'm not going to be able to pay. So that actually made me to say, okay, this place I'm not going to be able to study. Then this place, since I don't have this long-term goal, so it made me not to do all the like extra shifts or trying to get agencies or something like that. So because of the the numerous holidays that we get in the UK and the time, so I just focused on the kids and preparing for NCLEX. So I had time for YouTube as well. I think I actually started YouTube when I had my second baby and I was on maternity leave. So at the tail end of my maternity leave, I decided to start YouTube channel at that time. So I feel like I had a lot of time in the UK because I wasn't working a lot. I just do my normal shift and then I use my other time. Yeah.
Wow. So would you say it was worth it in general? Be honest with us. Would you say it
What?
was worth it leaving the UK to the US?
So yeah, it's worth it like 150% or
Are you
200
sure?
because
The
like
video that I watched where you were sharing your pay slip, I mean, I was not impressed with the figure.
In this video, I'm going to be comparing the median salary of registered nurses in Texas, which is 84,000 US dollars according to the United States Bureau of Labor Statistics, and the expected expenses using my expenses.
I know, right?
I was
So
not
yes, personally, I'll
Uh-huh.
go back to what I said in the beginning, my plan as a person. So US is ticking all my plans because I'm also married to someone that studied engineering. And for me, I feel like if I'm doing well in my career, my partner should as well. And he wasn't getting that in the UK. So me, basically, for some reason, I just follow what I want to do. So while I was in Nigeria, I had a master's degree in public health. So when I got to the UK, nobody even mentions that I have public health master's degree. But here in the US, at least I can use that to get a job. I was able to get into school and I got like extra credit for having master's degree back home. So I'm paying less. I was able to get into school that I'm able to combine with my full time. And then my husband also has more options. So if I'm growing, and I don't even still work extra hours, but because he's working, so I'm not bothered a lot. So those are my considerations. I feel like this place is ticking, like I'm able to check off everything I want to achieve while abroad than the UK. So that's basically it. That's why I would say it worth it, because in the UK I basically did nothing but work as a nurse. But here in the US, I'm seeing myself growing so fast. Like even if I'm not earning this much now, I feel like because I'm I'm almost at the tail end of finishing maybe my nurse practitioner, I can decide to go to another specialty more easily. I wasn't seeing that. But I know that some friends that moved to the UK and they have other plans and they want to move on to become lecturers and stuff, they're able to do that. But UK wasn't just ticking my check, I wasn't.
I understand. It looks like you like to study, study, study. You've already done your master's in public health in Nigeria, right? You already did your master's in public health in Nigeria. You wanted to come and study in the UK. And now you're already studying. It's like you really love education. You really always want to gain knowledge. By the way, why is that? And what course are you doing now in the US, if you don't mind?
So basically, the reason why I want to do all of that is while I was in Nigeria, I used to admire so many of my lecturers that studied either in the UK or in the US. And I feel like when I have opportunity to go abroad, I want to really develop myself that if I want to go back home, I will be able to like contribute more. So that's basically what helps me. Like, so even if I decide to go home today, what am I taking back home? It's not just like the money and all of that. So I actually try as much as possible to focus on developing myself, if I should think about it right now. Like I just like it. And because I admire it a lot in some people, my mentors, I admire that they are able to like do things because they studied, something like that. So that's just, yeah.
Wow, that's very, very impressive. Because other African women, it just shifts and money, money, money. So that's very impressive. Wow, I like that. Wow. So what course are you doing now in the US?
Okay, so right now I'm doing psychiatric mental health nurse practitioner program.
How long is the program?
So my program should be like 20 months. The reason is because I got some credits from the one I studied already. So in the US, their program is in such a way that you can decide how long that program is going to take you. So if you take like two courses every semester or every quarter, then you finish faster. If you take one course every when I started, I was taking two courses. Now I'm taking one course. Sometimes you can decide to take a break. So that always, but ideally in the beginning they said you can finish within 20 months. I know that it's a course that people finish in 24, some 3 years. If they are taking one course like I'm taking and you've not done any of that course before, and you're taking one course, maybe it can take you more than 2 years. Ideally, it should take me 20 months to finish.
And after that, are you going to become a psychiatric nurse practitioner?
So actually, when I moved to the US, I became a mental health nurse. And actually, the reason why I decided to move to mental health is because I did public health already. And I really wanted something that is close to that. And I gave birth during the pandemic. So I was like, what more can I actually share, with people around me and all of that? Because health promotion is something that I really wanted to do after I did my master's in community health nursing, public health. I really liked the aspect of epidemiology, and I also like the health promotion. So when the mental health thing became a big thing, I said, okay, when I move to the US, I'm going to do that, because it's something that I can merge with what I already have. So that's the reason. So when I got to the US, I was doing cardiac telemetry. So but when I thought the opportunity to get into mental health, I got into that, even though I have already started studying, but then that's helping me now because I'm now in the field. So now I'm a mental health nurse.
Wow. Did you do direct hire or you use an agency? What did you do?
I use an agency.
So are you still with the agency? No.
So right now I'm done with the agency.
Wow. So after the program you're doing, God willing, you're going to become a psychiatric nurse practitioner.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. This is very impressive. Wow, you've done so well. But first of all, why did you choose Texas? And then if you were to consider another state, where would you go?
Okay, yeah. So Texas is simply because of the weather. And from research, I can see that a lot of, let's say, immigrants of Nigerians are in Texas. So
The oil is part as well. I think you people have that oil thing in common.
yeah, again is my husband as well, because that's what he studied. So that's basically that, for like the weather, because so many Nigerians, immigrants are here. Yeah, that's basically it. And then the other state that I really wanted to go to is Maryland. And the reason is because of Johns Hopkins University. They have a very good course in public health those days that I was trying to get into, and I couldn't. I said, okay, if I should find myself there, I'll find a course to do there. So Maryland was my second option, but yeah, I didn't go there. So yeah.
Wow. I'm so proud of you. When I grow up, I want to be like you, honestly. So how much did you buy a house, if you don't mind sharing? How much did you buy a house in Texas? And how big is it?
So personally, I don't really like to share the exact number, but our house cost 300 plus. Yes.
And how long do I have to stay in America before I'm able to buy that? And how much deposit do they usually need? UK, if you're a first time, I think standard is around 10% and all of that. How is America's process like?
Yeah, so basically, I actually like to share this because my colleague moved from the same hospital we're working with in the UK and moved here, and it took him maybe close to 2 years to buy a home. And then he told me that is the standard. But when I got here, I noticed you can actually buy a home as a nurse. Like if you are a nurse and you're working full time, you can actually buy a home as fast as possible. The only thing that will make you not to buy as quickly as you can is maybe having a credit history, a credit score. And so when you move to this country, like I didn't have that mindset that there are certain credit cards that you have in the UK, you can transfer it here in the US. But most of the time, when we came here, they told us, they cannot accept any credit history from another country. But finally, like the group for those of us that moved from the UK to this place that finally bought their homes, there were credit cards that they had in the UK that they were able to transfer the history.
Like what?
Here. But for me,
like which credit cards? Like please share.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly whether I think it's Amex or something like that. So you are able to transfer.
I have it.
Okay.
That's good.
So, yeah, they say when you get here, you can call the bank or something. So I didn't have that information. So here they had to tell us that you need to have a credit history for you to buy a home. So we stayed until our credit history started showing. And that was like 5 months or something. So immediately it showed up, we worked with a realtor, and then we got a home. So it took us like on the average 6 months, let's say 6 months. That's what it took us to buy the first home.
I am
Then
proud of you. Wow.
so then another thing for the US again is that they make it easy for you. So if you tick other boxes like you've been working anyway, I did use my UK employment history to buy a home. So it's going to be different for everyone because I've been working consistently for 2 years, and you are my employer in the UK. They were very, very helpful. They sent that information like when they asked them and all that. So the P45 they send in the UK. I don't know if you have that, but P45, if you resign from your employer in the UK, they usually send it to you in a mail. It has like all the information about everything that they've paid you in the past and everything. So that paper, that's what I use, and then the information that I've worked in the UK for 2 years, they use that. So once you're able to provide all those information, you can buy a home. And then for the money aspect, is not a lot too. So you have 3.5%, you can buy a home. Then they also have like this down payment assistance. So if you decide not to pay anything, the only thing is that the less you pay, the more you pay monthly. So usually we were working, okay, so if you pay this amount, how much are we going to pay every month? So that's how we were working up how much we want to buy in a home. And again, you qualify for a particular amount of money. So it's not like you can easily go and buy a 600,000 home. No. So even this 300 plus, you have to qualify for it.
Yeah, they have to check how much you both are earning, your household income per annum, so you can afford the monthly.
Yeah, just like UK, yes.
But you guys have done really well, and I thank you for saying that. Let me ask you this question: when you were in the UK working as a nurse, right, without any overtime, and let's say you working as a nurse in Texas without any overtime, you pay your bills and everything. At the end of the month, in which of these two places did you have more to save? I don't even care if it's $10, but in each of these two places, after paying your bills and paying your grocery, because at the end of the day, we can never compare it so well.
Yeah,
because
that's true.
the cost of living is very different, the rates are different, even the currency, the value is different. But at the end of the day, after you've paid your bills and your family is fed and your children are sleeping and comfortable, which of these two places do you have more to save for the future?
So in the US, and I do want to share this because it's good for people to have like the balanced perspective. Right now, I'm not paying car note. So everything within our expenses is within the 2 weeks because we paid every 2 weeks, right? So it's within my 2 weeks payment.
That's for the entire month bills.
Yes, the entire, but I'm not paying car notes. When I was paying car notes, if I should add it, maybe it's going to be a little over. But because I'm not paying anything for car, everything actually is within the 2 weeks. Yeah.
So it's like you have 2 whole weeks to keep for yourself save.
Yeah.
Wow. Hey, Linda will make me come to Linda will make me come to Texas. Oh, wow. Honestly, there's a channel called Navel Reality Group. I'm always watching them. They are on Instagram and they are on YouTube. I'm always watching. I've watched them for almost 2 years. In fact, I've sent the man a DM on Instagram that I want to move to Texas very soon. Like, so when I come, I wanted to help me to buy a house. But before I get there, what do I need to know about it? He never responded. I think when he saw that I'm in the UK, because he read it, but he never really responded. Maybe he thought I was not serious. But even this morning I watched him. He's a Christian man. I think he's a pastor or something, but he's a realtor as well. So he's always making videos about places and all of that. What do you say about Texas in terms of the security? Because whenever I watch videos about Texas, there was even a video that I was watching that as the man was walking around, there was a bullet on the floor. I hear the gun laws are not the best, and I hear it can be extremely warm and very inconvenient. And then I also hear that some part of Texas shares a border with another country, right?
Yeah.
A lot of crime in that area as well. So see the way I know Texas. So what would you say about all of that? Is it safe in terms of raising kids? Because the gun laws, I'm not happy with it. I want to choose Texas or Georgia. Because Georgia as well, the houses are nice but a bit affordable, and there are lots of Ghanaians there. But with Texas, I know it's massive, but I know that a lot of hurricanes have affected Texas.
Yeah.
So what do you say about all that? And why are you still in Texas?
So yeah, that's very shocking. The gun one is like the shocking one for us. Like where we live, why I smiled when you talked about the border. Where we live the first time we got here, It's actually a border between here and another country. So it's like an outskirts, very nice place. For me, the only experience I have with this is like you are moving and you see that there is a store basically for gun, and like there is a signpost that actually shows it. Like for me, coming from Nigeria, we don't even know, like if you want to buy one, we don't even know where to go. So for this one, I really like see where you can store it, where you can buy it. And from research, I know that they say that the Texas is like they have a very permissive whatever, like people can actually own it. And another one that I have experienced about is a colleague telling me that he also moved from the UK like a long time ago. So here he went and bought like a big farm. So he has a big farm that he's like rearing like cattle and horses and stuff. And then he's living like far because some people live like in a farm kind of, you know. So some of our people like immigrants, they're beginning to enter into farming. They love it just like hobby, and he's a nurse. So I was really interested. And then he started telling me that he collects guns because he has to put, you know, something like that. I was showing me. So in my mind, I'm like, this is not like a very, do I say, common conversation that you have, like I have since I'm growing. So yeah, it's like that. And then sometimes you hear like all these stories, but generally as a person, like where you live, whether you feel safe, like you feel very safe here, because I feel like if anything happens and you decide to call maybe the security or emergency, they usually respond this quick. So I feel very safe here. And I feel like people feel safe because everybody's going about their business. So yeah, but I know they have all those. And again, what you asked about the hurricane stuff, I think some parts of Texas are more prone to, you know, like natural disaster than some. So that place where we lived before, they didn't have that. So they used to tell us stories about Houston. Like right now we live in Houston. They used to tell us stories about Houston. And Houston used to have some of these things, and they never had it here, that this place is blessed and stuff. But we wanted to move to Houston. So we moved to Houston anyway. So here I've had like going to work and there was tornado. Like that's the first time. So and you know, as African, like even though we check the weather and everything, it's still not like part of me to check. Even before I drive, I will check. No. So here I've experienced that one, and then we experienced this hurricane that you talked about, like that was on the news very recently, a very big one. So we
Are
had
you
to
serious?
yeah.
Ah,
They tell
I
you.
don't want to come to Texas anymore. Ah, you spoiled the whole
So
conversation.
but it's not like the movies, you know, like in the
No, no,
movie.
no, 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 no. You spoiled the whole conversation.
I
Ah,
know, right? So those two, we have experienced those two. That hurricane was like a big one. Like usually they will announce it days before.
oh,
Yeah,
sometimes when I'm praying to God, I pray against natural disasters affecting my family
I
and
know.
issues with courts, like court issues or legal battles. Those
Mm-hmm.
two things, natural disasters and disasters in general, and I'm afraid of those things. Like,
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Like I never even imagined that I would like
eh,
experience something. Even when they were announcing that it may happen, we didn't even take it like seriously. We thought like, oh, maybe it's not going to be like, you know, like they say in the movies and stuff. But it did happen, and it was really big. And like we had to
people
stay
lost
at
their,
work. Hmm?
people lost their homes.
Oh, I'm not sure about losing homes though, but I know that, you know, like trees were falling. We had to stay at work. I was at work. They have to say that everybody is free to go. Like even if you want to go there, the security are telling people no, you can't go. It's not safe right now. You know how they manage all of that. But we stayed
And
at
if
work for
something
a
can go
while.
around and it's going on for 10 hours.
Yeah, I forgot how many hours that, but it was really a big one. Yeah, I'm not sure I've heard the stories of people losing their homes.
Wow, like let's say if there's like a hurricane, like Hurricane Katrina and all of those very big hurricanes, the water took them to another place, maybe 10 and their house were covered and destroyed because it was
Yeah.
very strong.
Yeah, I think we hear like when it happened, I think in Florida or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I even
Here I
saw
know they were announcing it for like
building houses.
weeks and people really took precautions, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. May God keep you safe in Jesus. May nothing like that happen to you and your family in the mighty name of Jesus.
Amen. Thank
As for
you.
that note, me, I'll not come on to Texas. If hey, wow.
Amen.
So for somebody like me who is still contemplating that UK versus US, is it worth it and all of that, you have experienced both. You stayed in the UK for over 2 years and you've lived in the US, Texas for around 2 years as well. So you have a good taste of both. Usually people are biased. They tend to choose the place where they have decided to be permanent and they try to, in their mind, make it look like even the bad things are not so bad where they are. But
Mhm.
just be very open-minded and tell me, for somebody trying all they can to leave the UK to the US, tell me, is it worth it?
So yeah, I think we've talked about it a little bit. So the bias actually, because I have a family. When I was in the UK, that's when I started my YouTube channel. I was campaigning for a lot of things that I like. At work, I'll be asking people, how did you come here? How did you come here? Because once they tell me, I will share with my family. And then my family eventually went to the UK and they love it. They are campaigning. They're even telling me UK is better than US, so they love it. So it depends on your plan. I would say it depends on your plan. Like me personally, because it wasn't really, first of all, my husband wasn't finding it funny, and I didn't really like it for him, because I feel like for us nurses, sometimes we come forget that there is somebody that we are with, and you want them to also feel proud in whatever they are doing. So once I saw that that place is not really going to help his career in any ways, and then he was really like an academic, something like that. Even though I love the UK, I like how it is. I like that I have so many all these holidays and all that. It wasn't really helping my career in any way in terms of how I planned it, because some people it's helping them, right? But in terms of how I planned it, how I look at it, it wasn't. So that's the only reason. That's the main reason. And then so many people I've met, like where I work right now, a lot of us moved. Many of them lived in the UK and they are here. So sometimes, even if I would say I don't know much about the UK, and even when I got here with the agency I came with, I thought I'm the only one moving from the UK, but many of us moved from the UK to here. So even when I don't know whether US is better, and I see that this massive amount of people have lived in the UK, some of them they are already citizens of the UK, some have stayed in the UK 10 years, 12 years, and they still came here. In fact, recently I met someone that worked in the same NHS that I work, and we are colleagues right now. And we're like, oh my God, we all talk good about the UK, but we are here just because maybe our partners need to be here. For nurses, you cannot.
Linda, my plan is money, so choose for me.
That's what I'm saying. It depends if you're, yeah.
My plan is more money. So my plan is more money. So which one would you choose for me?
Well, definitely it's not comparable. If your plan is money, US. Yeah. For other plans, it depends on you as an individual. If it is career growth, money, US. Then if it is for easy life, like relaxing, maybe UK.
What was your biggest salary in the UK? Or maybe you don't even have, because you were not really doing overtime. Did you have a biggest salary in the UK and then your biggest salary in the US?
Yeah, in the UK, when you continue to stay, right? Like you've worked there for a year, 2 years, like that, your salary increases. So I think before I left, it's over £2,500, I believe, and it's different for each month, right? Because like it depends on whether there is holiday.
But that was your biggest salary. Then you were not really making money in the UK.
Yeah, I was. I was in fact, I removed my mind from anything working, anything. That was like, I think I've received like 2,600, yeah.
And then in the US, what was your biggest salary, or what has been your biggest salary so far, if you don't mind?
So biggest salary,
Drum
it's not a lot as well. I mean, psych doesn't pay much in Texas. So I think my biggest salary as a psych nurse, maybe 3,004 in 2 weeks though. In 2 weeks, 3,004 in 2 weeks. My take home, yeah.
So in a month, like say 6,000 take home in a month.
Yeah, on the average, I think.
6,000. All right. Thank you very much, Linda. Your final words, and then I'll leave your handles on there.
Okay, thank you everyone for watching. My final words remain the same. If you want to move, I'm going to actually leave 2 things. One is for people who know that maybe they have money, they have the requirements and everything, and they want to move. So have a concrete plan so that if you go to the UK and you feel like you're achieving all your dreams and everything is coming together for you, then UK is beautiful, you can stay there. Then if wherever you feel like is the best for you and you are going to achieve your dream, that place I believe is what will give you the fulfillment. Because if you go to any country and you have other plans apart from money and you're not really making all that, all the other things that you have dreamt of as a nurse or anything, if you're not really achieving those, you will something in you will still be thinking, oh, maybe I would have loved to still go to the US, something like that. So if you have that plan, and anyway, just follow that plan. That's what I believe if you want to go to anything abroad. Then the second one is for people who don't have money, because that's another group, but they want to travel abroad, but their biggest challenge is the money. And then a lot of agencies are not really taking people anywhere if you don't have NCLEX or something like that, all of that. What I can say to those group of people, if you're still in Nigeria, Ghana, wherever you're at, just continue to develop yourself. Because you want to move abroad and it's not coming, you don't have the money, that doesn't mean you shouldn't grow where you are. So try to take additional courses, have all the experience that you can, and then save up for the first step. for me, I saved up for the first step because people around me didn't believe in abroad anymore because maybe they lost their money to scam and all of that. So, but when I passed the first step, which is IELTS, everybody came out and then they were supporting the other steps. So if it is US, for instance, save up for TGFNS or ERES or Joseph or any of those ones. Find the cheapest one that you feel you're qualified for and start with that. Save up for the first step. If you meet one requirement, like there's this thing about like if you succeed, it gives you confidence for the next step. So save up for just this little one, the first step. It will really, really help your confidence and people as well. Even if you want to borrow and they've seen that you've made that step, people will be more likely to, lend you money if you have started it. So those are my biggest encouragement.
Wow. Wow. There's a lot to say, but I don't want the video to be too long. I'll invite you back whenever our times permits out. Thank you so much. I
Thank
really
you so
learned a
much,
lot.
Nadia. Thank you,
And then,
everyone.
wow, I'm really inspired. Well done. Well done. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm proud of you. Thank you so much. I'll leave Linda's details on here and in the description as well. If you want to reach out to her, you can. Thank you so much, Linda. Bye bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye bye.